It's time for Real Estate 101 with the Karey Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors.
Good Sunday morning to you. This is Karey Brown, broker owner of Realty Executives Preferred Advisors, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. I am here today with Sheryl Blue. Sheryl's been on the show before. She is the owner of Blues Moon's professional organization. Good morning, Sheryl.
Good morning.
And so the month of May, we are spending quite a bit of time on a magazine that we have been putting together, and Sheryl is a contributor to the magazine, just talking about different things that affect women throughout their lifetime, starting from as young as Shannon Moore's. You'll be hearing from her later in the month, where her daughter at 14 had purchased a house and flipped it and had done several more. Clear up to retirement planning and if something should happen to a spouse and everything that happens in between. So there are a lot of times in your life that sometimes you just need to clear out the clutter. And that's one of the things that I asked Sheryl to contribute for, because this is what she does, and she's great at it, by the way. So let's just kind of talk about the article. You talk about just organization in general and how it affects you. So if you would, I'll let you kind of take it away from there.
Okay. Well, I believe that organizing is important in that stage of life, whether it's by fate, you've maybe lost a partner, or, by plan, if you're experiencing a divorce or something like that. And it's a good time for you to regroup and reorganize and sort of regenerate your life. And one of the most important things that I think of when I think about that time of a person's life is, of course, being really organized. And that starts, in my mind, with your daily routine and ways you can adjust that to fit your new lifestyle, and the importance of using, in my opinion, a planner to keep track of things, whether it's an appointment with your realtor or, a closing date, or maybe an appointment with a lawyer. And as a professional organizer, I feel that really is one of the first steps in reorganizing your life, is making sure that you've got it all planned out. Use a planner to make sure you're getting to your appointments on time. It may be a very hectic time of your life, and a planner will really help with that. It's also important, in my opinion, when using a planner, it's really important to schedule time for yourself, too, especially during a time of stress. It sometimes seems that you adhere more to that if it pops up on your planner, a reminder, you're going to have an exercise session or something like that. I think it's very important start to regrouping and reorganizing is using a planner to make sure you're hitting all the points.
And I know a lot of the time we see, moving, like, for instance, we had a gal, her husband passed away, and we've sold her house, and, just that's a lot to take in at one time, and from losing a spouse to selling a house. I mean, for her, that happened very, very quick. So it's really traumatic, and just having somebody there to help them, label those boxes and weed through what you don't need and what you do need.
A professional organizer can really bring a lot to the table in that aspect. Not only, sometimes it helps when you're going through a difficult time like that to have somebody just to sort of push you forward and make, positive suggestions, or maybe help you decide whether it's important to keep or if it's something you can let go of. And it's really sometimes important to have a person there just to maybe talk it through. And, a professional organizer can help just by listening and giving support and guidance through the whole process of that.
Which makes perfect sense. I know on our team, you had helped one of our gals. She said she just felt amazing when it was all done, because she really hadn't been able to park in her garage ever. So that was a great thing. You organized it. You did a yard sale. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was really great. She actually had all the stuff, sort of in one location in the garage, and I just went in and we worked side by side and set things up, went through things, and then I ran the sale for her. And at the end of the sale, I actually packaged up what was left. There was a lot of, some clothing and that kind of thing left. And I boxed it up and did an inventory for her, which she was then able to use as a deduction on her taxes at the end of the year. So not only did she get to park in the garage, but she made some money off the sale and then had some tax deductions at the end of the year. The funny part of that is I'm helping her mother now. So we have the standing once-a-month appointments and are planning on the garage sale actually next May. So continue to move on with those kind of things.
So when you say that you plan once a month, are you doing like a room a month?
Well, I'm a closet. I started with a room, and then on the second session, I revamped a storage closet for her. And, I'm just sort of moving through. She's got a lot to get through, but we're planning on a sale next May. So, it's great. I go in once a month and I work for 6 hours and we schedule the next month. So things like that are also possible. You don't actually have to do it all at once. If you want to spread it out, you can certainly do that.
That sounds great. And when it comes to estates, tell us how you work all of that out for people. I know a lot of times you get calls. I know in our aspect, the kids may not live here and parents have passed away or they've moved into a retirement home. And they just need to liquidate the stuff that they have there.
Yeah, absolutely. A professional organizer can help with the estate clearing. There's a lot of different things an organizer can help with. If there's a list of important things that need to be found, a professional organizer can certainly look for those things while sorting through, what's in the house. I'm actually working on an estate sale right now, and we're utilizing every room, and there's a lot of stuff. So we display it all. I do a lot of research because I want to make sure that not only that the people that are coming to the sale are going to want to purchase it, but, we're getting a good price for what it is. So there's a lot of research involved. And then I will run the sale. This one will be a 3-day sale. And then again, at the end of that sale, I'm going to help my client, which happens to be this lady's sister, help her get rid of whatever's left over by donating to various places. And we'll probably do some online sales for her as well.
And so in the magazine, we try to touch on the different life stages. And, divorce is definitely a life stage that could happen to someone. In Sheryl's article, she talks about ways of just bringing in new to move forward. Do you want to go into a little bit of detail to that about that?
Absolutely. I mean, it really is a good time in your life to go through what you have and decide what's important to you and what you want to keep and what you can actually sell or donate. So that's sort of step one. But then step two to that is it's really an opportunity for you to personalize your space, how you want it. Maybe it means, repainting the bathroom and buying some new towels so it's more like your bathroom, or, redoing the bedding, or even as simple as changing the color of the room or purchasing a new throw rug, or, it might be a good time in life to really start a unique collection or something. It's all about personalizing it for yourself and, your new stage in life, basically.
So in divorce, you may be losing a spouse, but you do gain more closet space, and Sheryl's got a lot of great tips for that.
Yeah, it'd be a great time to, utilize that extra space, spread out a little bit. Maybe you want to organize your clothing by season, and you now have room to store both, in spring in one side, summer, winter in the other. A lot of people sort by color or function, but you have that extra space in the closet, and it's a perfect opportunity to develop a system that works for your new lifestyle moving forward.
So I know I had mentioned, but Sheryl's been on the show before, and we do have recorded versions of those radio interviews, and they will be on our website at topekahomeadvisors.com. And we'll also be sharing them, links to them through our Facebook page, which is Realty Executives Preferred Advisors. In the magazine that will be coming out about May 15th, there will be a digital version and a print version. We will be sharing that in our blog post that will be on the website. And then we'll be sharing them with all of the contributors to the magazine. So if you have time, go out and listen to all of the shows that I've done with Sheryl. She's got some really great tips on everything from, just the standard, your pantries, to your, getting rid of clothes that don't fit, to taxes, paperwork in general. There are so many things that we deal with in life that to have an organized life, as you will hear in Jay's portion of the radio show, frees you up to go do what you want to go do.
Absolutely.
So, and that is one of the great things about having Sheryl come in is that can really, truly, it clears your mind and it just helps you move on. Thank you so much, Sheryl, for being on the show. I really appreciate it and your contribution to the magazine.
I appreciate you asking me to participate.
And Sheryl, just real quick before we go, tell them how to get a hold of you.
You can reach me by email at organizewithbluesmoon@gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook the same way, Organized with Blues Moon. That's the key, I suppose. And my website is organizedwithbluesmoon.com.
And again, Sheryl Bluth, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
You've been listening to Real Estate 101. We'll be back after the break with Jay Pryor. Jay is a life coach, and he's out of Lawrence, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy what he has to say. So again, thank you for listening to Real Estate 101. We'll be right back after the break.
They just told us right away that we're going to house you, we're going to feed you, and every single one of his medical bills is just all taken care of.
They've saved my family from financial ruin. It allowed me and my wife both to focus on the most important thing, which was the health and well-being of our son.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes. And that's what makes St. Jude so magical.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Doctors send us the toughest cases to be treated at St. Jude, and our patients come from all over the world.
When we come here, they told me, don't worry, everything will be taken care of.
We can never repay St. Jude for what they've given us.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti.
Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Good Sunday morning to you. This is Karey Brown, broker owner of Realty Executives Preferred Advisors, and you are listening to Real Estate 101. We are working on a series this month of May, going through a magazine that we've been putting together that is hopefully going to be released May 15th. There will be a digital version in addition to a print version. To see the digital version, it will be on our website, which is topekahomeadvisors.com. You'll also be able to find it on our Realty Executives Preferred Advisors Facebook page. And then everyone that contributed will have links quite possibly on their websites also. So today I'm talking with Jay Pryor, and Jay is from Lawrence. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning, Karey. Thanks for having me.
Sure, thank you. Jay is, again, a contributor to the magazine. Jay, tell everybody what it is you do.
I'm a life and executive coach, and so I work with highly successful people to help further themselves in their business or their careers or their lives, to really create their lives exactly the way they want them and to fulfill on whatever vision they have for their lives. I predominantly coach women entrepreneurs and executive women. Okay.
And so say, for instance, someone wanted to have you be their coach. How would they get a hold of you?
Well, you can find me at my website, which is jpryorcoaching.com. It's all spelled out, Jaypryor, and then the word coaching.com. You can also just Google Jay Pryor and you'll find me. It's Jaypryor. But on my website, there's an inquiry button that you can send me a note, and we'll talk about what you're up to. I have a waiting list right now, so right now, basically, if you were to want to work with me, you'd get on a waiting list, but usually that frees up within a month or so. As people continue or complete their contracts with me, I'm able to bring new people on. But yeah, you just make an inquiry to me, and we'll talk about what you need. The other way that I often recommend people do, though, is because I work with women, I also do seminars for women, and I have one coming up May 12th, for example, here in Lawrence at Miss Ellie's in Lawrence. And so you can start by attending one of my seminars, and again, you can go to my website and click on seminars, and it'll tell you what seminars are available, and then you can register for the seminar. And it's a day-long seminar, and it's called Lean Inside, 7 Steps to Personal Power, which is also my book. I have a book out that came out in November, and the book is called Lean Inside, 7 Steps to Personal Power. And in the seminar, we walk through, I talk about the steps in the morning. It's more of a seminar, and then in the afternoon, we workshop it. And we take an area of your life and have you really get up under what might be in the way of you moving forward or being really powerful in whatever area of your life you like to take on. Some people take on their personal life, some people take on their work. But most of the time, people come in thinking they're going to take on one area, and then, as life happens, it turns out that it may be more important that they focus on their relationship with their husband or something like that. So whatever's important to people. But that is a great first step, and not only does the seminar really prepare people for then a coaching experience, but also I have over 140 women who have come through my seminars, and they have become a very powerful group that really meets each other. They have happy hours that they go to, and then they have a monthly group where they have a speaker, and their goal is just to, I really ask them to make a commitment to their own personal development, but also make a commitment to being women who are willing to lift up other women. One of the things I see a lot in business is there's so much competition between women, and especially in the same field. And in personal development, we really want to come from a place of abundance where we're an expansive universe, we're expansive people. It's not like there's not enough for everybody. There always is enough good for everybody. So we really work on being people who are out to support and lift up other people to achieve their goals, and know that also helps us achieve ours.
I know in reading your article, one of the things that caught me, it said, watch your mouth, and it talks about how you speak to yourself.
Yeah, that's an incredibly, it's so interesting to me that even the most powerful people that I work with who are highly successful just talk to themselves terribly. They just say the worst things to themselves, and sometimes it's that self-love or that really appreciating one's own being that is sometimes in the way of them really being massively successful.
Yeah, I need to frame that. I'm like my worst critic.
Oh, everybody is. And that's the thing is, if you think that somebody's judgmental about other people, you want to get that they turn that light on themselves in 10 times. I mean, however critical or judgmental as someone is of somebody else, they're 10 times worse on themselves. And I don't know why that is, but it's a kind of a human phenomenon that I've found with coaching, and especially with women, and women, and especially women who are in a male-dominated field. They always feel like they have to be perfect, and when they fail, they just beat the heck out of themselves. And so I really invite people to take on speaking to themselves the way they would a good friend. Because when a good friend comes to you with an issue, you don't say to them, "What the heck is wrong with you? I can't believe you did that." And I'm being kind.
Yeah.
You know that I'm like censoring myself for radio, because usually it's a lot fouler than that.
Yeah.
People are really mean to themselves. So yeah, I ask people to really take on. And watching your mouth is such a powerful practice anyway. There's in the world of personal development, what I say is, for the most part, we're all saying the same thing. We've gotten to the point where we've synthesized personal development down to, we know that it's the beliefs about ourselves that keep us limited, and that we decide as we're growing up what things about ourselves we make decisions, or we make agreements with ourselves, or we say things to ourselves like, "I'm not good at math," or "There's no way," or "I'm shy," or "I'm not good at relationships," and then we have those beliefs about ourselves, and those are the things that keep us from really having what we want in our lives, and we have to break through and create new beliefs to be able to get more powerful and have what we want. And so watching your mouth is one of the most important steps, because if you pay attention to the words that you speak, you really pay attention, especially the things that just fly out of your mouth without thinking about it. Those are the things that are a link. They're like it's what your subconscious really believes about you. So, for example, I had a client one time in a conversation with me say, her daughter had asked her about writing a book, and right out of her mouth flew, "Oh, I'm not good enough to write a book." Well, that told me that she really believed that about herself, right? And so we got to work on that belief, and where did that come from? And more importantly, let's get up under that and let's demolish it. And now she's writing a book, right? Because once she got past that, she realized, oh, that was some story I had about myself, that I wasn't good enough to do that. Once that's revealed and we can break through it, then that story is gone. There's nothing in the way for writing a book, which is what she really wanted to do in the first place. So watching your mouth is one of the biggest tools that people can do, is just to start paying attention to some of those things that fly out of your mouth that you're not conscious of.
I could totally see how that happens.
Yeah.
Cultivating gratitude. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, cultivating gratitude is it's such a powerful practice. Anybody who's got a gratitude practice will tell you that it's something that really serves them. But really, what that comes from is the principle. There's a principle that in personal development that what we focus on always expands. Wherever we as human beings put our energy, that will always get bigger. And it's a common sense kind of thing. You can play a game with it if you want. We do this with kids, like, play yellow car, where you start to look for yellow cars. Eventually, you start to see a lot of them, but in the beginning, you may not see very many. You have to have your focus on it for a while. But I always try to go even more simpler for people, especially people who are parents. Are you a parent, Karey, at all? You have kids?
I am. I have 3.
Okay, so you'll remember that before you had kids, back pre-life, pre-kids, right?
Yeah, my waistline was a lot smaller.
Right? Yeah. But then once you got pregnant, your first one, right, you started seeing kids everywhere.
True.
Right? Kids became part of your consciousness. That's all that happened. The kids were always there. You were just focused on partying with your friends with free kids, right?
True.
So we didn't have that in our consciousness. So it's just a human phenomenon that what we put our energy on, what we put our attention to, will expand. And so if we put our attention towards gratitude, that will get bigger, and we'll have more and more things to be grateful for. So the practice that I put my clients on the hook for often is a simple practice like text your buddy, kid and accountability buddy, and text that buddy 3 new things that you're grateful for every day. And we have to say new things, because humans, we have a tendency to just cheat and default to, I'm grateful for my dog every day, right? But I am grateful for my dog every day, right? But that doesn't stretch you to have to look for more things to be grateful for. When you're looking for more things to be grateful for, you're consciously having your focus on gratitude, you'll start to have more and more things to be grateful for. And so that's the first thing, is it just has you feel better. And feeling better is the whole clue here, because we want to really have ourselves well and feeling good so that we can really be focused on creating the big things in our lives we want to create. If we're having to think about just our own simple little well-being, like I don't feel good every day, it's hard to want to think big and create big dreams. But when that's all zipped up and you're a happy person, then you can really focus on, okay, I want to create this big thing out in the world. I'm ready to go take that on. And so cultivating gratitude is a practice that will just always serve you.
Yeah, sometimes it's just getting out of your own way.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. As humans, we could be so self-centered, right?
Yeah.
We could be so self-focused, and so gratitude is another thing that I'm glad you said that, because it just gets you out of yourself. It has you, outwardly focused sometimes rather than focusing inwardly.
So number 4 of your steps is creating a personal foundation.
Yeah, creating a personal foundation is exactly it's back to what I was just talking about, I like to tell people, I want you to have a life that's so big that you can't keep it in your head. Like, we're big people. We can hold a lot. And why not? Don't we want to, like, get into the grave all used up? I mean, we're here on this planet for whatever reason, and that's to bring joy to the world, to make a difference, to, whatever you want to believe, that's up to you. But I think we're here to really have big lives and to make a big difference with people. And so I want you to have a big life. And so if you're going to have a big life, that means all those petty little things that are little stuff in life have to be in workable order. And so creating a strong personal foundation is like, once you have things in workable order, you've got a strong foundation under you, just like a strong foundation of a house. So then you can get big. But if you're having to worry about, like, just getting your bills paid and, like, your car's dirty and your stuff is not zipped up, then that's where your energy goes to. And you're spending all of your energy just focused on that stuff, and you're not spending any energy really creating what you want out in the world because you're too busy, just taking care of the petty stuff. So what I say is, like, strong personal foundation is stuff like keeping your body in order and doing the exercise and eating right that you need to do, or putting your bills on a auto pay system just so that's taken care of. Those kind of things, making a regular trip to the, just keeping your car tidy. Those kind of things, just having so that everything's in workable order, so you don't have to think about that stuff. I want you to be thinking about, what are you creating out in the world? What big thing are you up to today that's going to inspire you? And cleaning out your car is not it. So we want to just have that already done, and I don't have to think about it. And I just keep my car, it's like my car is one of my things. I keep my car clean all the time. If I have a trash can in there, I pretty much every time I go get gas, I empty it. So I just don't have to think about it. It's just something I never expend energy towards. I spend energy towards, what difference am I going to make today with somebody? What big thing do I want to take on that's going to really have me feel like I'm alive?
So really it's just creating those habits to where it just kind of is a normal function of your day, and that way you're not spending, I always talk about, like, on the weekends, it's like during the week we just survive the week.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the weekend, it's like, oh, man, I got to clean my house. And it's like, is that really how I want to spend my weekend?
Right, exactly. And, with a lot of clients, when I ask them, and this, I've worked with a lot of realtors, and this is something I ask people all the time. It's like, how much is your time worth, right? So, there's a lot of things that I recommend people pay other people to do, and cleaning house is one of them.
You and my husband need to talk.
Once a month for a few hours to get that deep clean or whatever it is, because your time is all you've got. And so how much is it worth, and how much do you make an hour? I know people, I'll work with attorneys or people who make, hundreds of dollars an hour, but then they resist paying $25 an hour to somebody to clean their house. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Go pay somebody else that $25 an hour, and you go enjoy your life on your Saturdays so that you can really be living the life that you're committed to live, which is, full of joy and fun.
Exactly. Now I just need for you to convince my husband.
Yeah. Well, send it to me. We'll have a chat about
it. Whip him into shape.
Here you go.
So we kind of covered all of that. Shift your personal or your perspective. And here you quote Abraham Lincoln when he said, "We can complain about rose bushes having thorns, or we can rejoice that those thorn bushes have roses."
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of my work is about how you believe it will go, and what your perspective is on life is how it goes. And that if you want to shift any area of your life, you got to start thinking and speaking about it differently. And again, as humans, we have a tendency to get into ruts or think that we'll believe something. For example, realtors. One of the things that I've worked with realtors around is there's a myth, or I call it a myth. Some realtors would say it's the truth, right? that their business is seasonal. I tell realtors, if you really look at the belief or myth that your business is seasonal and choose to unbelieve it, you'll have some power there. So I've really had some breakthroughs with realtors who have been successful all year round, right? Not just spring through fall and then things drop off in the winter. By undoing that belief, or by really creating for themselves that our business is not seasonal, that houses sell in wintertime, but that's the story that goes along with, the business of being a realtor. And as soon as you become a realtor, that's the story that you're given, is that your business is seasonal.
I think it's because that's what they're told.
Right,
in
exactly.
all reality, as long as you're doing your marketing and you're consistent about it, you will stay busy year-round.
Exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. But that's a different perspective, and so that's what we're talking about, is if you can shift your perspective and shift to a different belief or a different story, and then you're the one who's gathering evidence for that story, like you keep doing your marketing and then you get a couple sales in the winter and you start to get to unbelieve that old belief, you can do that with anything in your life. Because how you believe it will go is how it's going to go. And that's why shifting your perspective is so important. Because, again, if you believe that you're not going to make any sales in the wintertime, you're not.
This is true.
Do it. But if you can get to yourself to really believe that I can make sales all year round, you'll make sales all year round. So I really work with people to shift their perspective so that they can break through some of those kinds of limitations that are just things. A belief is just something we've told ourselves over and over and over again. And that industry, realty is an industry where they've told themselves that part of the story of the industry is that it's seasonal, rather than the reality is you can sell houses all year round. And if you get to where you can really believe that, it can happen for you.
I know we do, so
yeah.
It does work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so point number 6. Point number 6, become aware of your operating system.
Yeah. That's your, 5, 6, and 7 are your little bit of higher math stuff, is what I always tell people. Your operating system is essentially your brain and your physiology. And what I say is, if we're human beings and we function a particular way, then we have more power if we're very clear and understand about how we function. And yet, unfortunately, in our world, we aren't taught when we're kids that your brain works a particular way, and you can't resist that. I mean, no matter what you do, it's gonna happen. So there's a particular way that the brain works that I really highlight in my book called hijack, and that's essentially when your amygdala, your fight or flight brain, gets triggered by something, and it shoots your brain full of cortisol, and it floods out your reasoning brain. It floods out your right and your left prefrontal cortex, and that part of your brain is for reasoning and focus. And so here you are, your brain is being flooded with this hormone, and that's when you say irrational things, you get confused, you ruminate on the past, you ruminate on the threat. So say you're in an argument with somebody, you know how you get in an argument with somebody and then you walk away from that argument and all you can think about is that argument and all the things you should have said? Well, that's when you've been hijacked. And that's a physiological, it's a physiological thing that happens to you, right? And yet, we human beings walk around unconscious of the fact that this is happening to us and that there's nothing we can do about it. We can do something about it once it's happened, and we can get ourselves calmed down. But the reality is, all of us have triggers, and all of us have things from our past that trigger us in some way, and we go around getting triggered by people and just feeling like, well, that's just part of life, right? But the reality is, if we know what's happening, then we can have some power over it. And so I say, if you understand your operating system and what's some of your default patterns of what happens to you when you get triggered, or are you somebody who goes to anger right away, or are you somebody who shuts down and doesn't talk, or being conscious and starting to have awareness around yourself can give you a lot of power in life. And I say that there's so much power in being able to understand how your operating system works and then what by default you automatically do. And because, again, our whole goal is to be successful. And as humans, we have a tendency to sabotage our own success just by being unconscious and not aware. Oh, gosh, that thing happened, and I got triggered, and then I got furious, and then now these people don't want to talk to me.
Makes sense.
Right? So if I know that that's a trigger for me, or I know I got triggered, then I can go, oh, that's all that happened is I got triggered. It doesn't mean these people are mean and bad. It means I got triggered from my past, and it's my job to go look at what that's about and then clean up if I tell people, please shut your mouth if you get triggered, because what happens to us is because our reasoning and focus brain is shut down, we have a tendency to say things we really don't mean. That's when we get into bad arguments and we use regressive statements like always and never, like never contribute around this house. We say things, and I'm telling people, do not talk. Like, do not send that email to your boss when you've been triggered. do not engage with your lover into an argument when you have been triggered like that, because it's no good. It's going to come from that. You got to get to a place where you calm down and you settle yourself down and get that hormone to come down so that you can be rational again and use your right and left prefrontal cortex where you can reason and focus and really be conscious about what you're saying rather than saying something you might really regret later.
You can't take it back. So
you can't take it back. Yeah.
Okay.
Out there, it's done.
So if you are interested in checking out Jay's seminars or talking to him about being your coach, you can go to jpryorcoaching.com. Is there a phone number that they should call, or do you just recommend them going through the website?
Probably my website. Yeah, that's best. You can also find me on Facebook page. I have a Facebook page you can also connect with me through.
Okay, and is that Jay Pryor Coaching also?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jay, for, number one, contributing to the magazine and for being on the show.
Absolutely, Karey. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
And, again, look for that. Should be out around May 15th. There will be a digital and a print version. You can go to topekahomeadvisors.com. We will be sharing the audios from the radio station in addition to the magazines and the blog posts, and again on our Facebook page, which is Realty Executives Preferred Advisors. Thank you for listening to Real Estate 101. Be sure and join us next week where we'll be talking with Shannon Stone. She's with the Kansas Securities Commission, and with Andrea Engstrom. She's with Action Coaching. Thanks again for listening to Real Estate 101. I'm Karey Brown, broker owner of Realty Executives Preferred Advisors.
Thank you for listening to Real Estate 101 with the Karey Brown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors. Tune in again next Sunday at 11 o'clock for Real Estate 101.